Hey guys, Caleb here. Watch this video if you want God to bless you in your business. Let's go ahead and hop right into it. So, today I'm going to be talking about how God actually honors multiplication, and I'm going to be speaking from Matthew 25, the parable of the talents. And for those of you who don't know it, I'll do a breakdown, but I just want to say right off the bat that I truly believe that the parable of talents is a very clear blueprint for how we are supposed to steward our business as Christian entrepreneurs. And so let's go ahead and hop right into the story. So in this story, it's Matthew 25, 14 through 15, where I'm going to speak right now. The master, he gives three servants three different starting points. I want to just kind of set the tone here right now. So it says that he gives 5 talents to the first servant. Okay. He gives 2 talents to the second servant, and then he gives 1 talent to the third servant. And it says in the Bible that he gives it to each according to their ability. And so I wanted to be clear, a talent, it is a type of currency in biblical days, and it's not something to take lightly. It's not like the servant or the master was giving them a quarter or giving them $1. It says that a talent was actually the equivalent of 20 years of wages. And so this was a very big responsibility. And so just from a business perspective right here, right off the bat, God, he doesn't start everyone at the same level, but he does expect everyone to steward what they were given. And so, as you see, each servant was given talents according to their current abilities. And so, these first two servants right here, okay, they went and they multiplied what they had. So it says the servant that was given 5 talents, he went and turned it into 10 talents. So he doubled what he had. And then the servant who had 2 talents, he went and turned it into 4. So also doubled what he had. And it says that once the master gave them instructions, at once they went and put their money to work. Like they didn't hesitate at all. They took initiative, they took a risk, and they used what they had to create more. That is literally textbook entrepreneurship and what we are supposed to do in our businesses. And once the master saw that they went and multiplied what they had, he said the exact same thing to both of them. He said, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with little, and you will now be ruler over much, or I will make you ruler over much." And so their reward or their blessing, it was actually tied to their multiplication and making 5 go to 10 and making 2 go to 4. Okay. And so now let's talk about the third servant. I'll just do third servant right here. Okay. So he didn't go and multiply anything. He actually just protected what he had, and I feel like this is really the most important part of the message. It says, so the third servant, he received 1 talent. So according to his ability, he received one, and instead of going and investing it or building on it or taking some type of risk, he buried it in the ground. He dug a hole and he buried it in the ground. Okay, and so he played it safe and he tried to preserve what he had. And when the master returned and he saw what he had done, he basically said, "Master, you gave me one, so here's your one back. I kept it safe." And so yeah, he didn't lose any money, he didn't waste any money, he didn't invest poorly, he just refused to do anything. He literally did nothing. And that's why I always say, like, it's just so easy to win and so easy to beat people, because 99% of people will literally just do nothing. And so yeah, he saved his talent instead of going and multiplying it. And he was expecting a better reaction from his master, but the master actually rebuked him and he called him wicked and he called him lazy. I'll just do WN now right there. I don't feel like writing those out. Wicked and lazy. And the reason why is because he lived in fear, and he was lazy because he didn't do anything with what he had been giving. And so the master, he actually takes the 1 talent from him and then he gives it to the servant who came back with 10 talents. Okay. So the third servant, he only brought back one. Master wasn't happy with that. He took his 1 talent that he tried to preserve and then he gave it to the servant that started with 5 and multiplied it to 10. Okay. And Jesus explains this principle when he's speaking to the disciples, and he says, to the one who uses what he has, more will be given. but the one who doesn't, even what he does have, will be taken away. And so the point here is that Jesus, God, they give us these gifts that we are supposed to use, supposed to put out into the world to bless others. But if we don't use them, it will actually be taken away because we're not putting it to use and we're not doing what we are called to do. And so the big point here, just for business and calling, is the first two servants, they represented taking initiative. So they took initiative, they took faith, they took risk, like they multiplied what they had. And then the third servant, he represented fear and hesitation and safety, excuses, all types of stuff. And in God's kingdom, the goal is not to preserve what God has given you. The goal is to grow it, it's to build on it, to multiply and expand it. And so you're accountable not just for protecting your gift, like you have to produce with them. I can't remember the verse off the top of my head, but like we're put here to go out into the world and bear fruit, produce fruit, and show what God has done in our lives. And so when God gives you an idea or a skill or a passion or a business opportunity, you're not supposed to bury it. You're supposed to go out and multiply it and do something with it. And so God, he's not going to reward the servant right here who just protects the gifts. He's going to reward the servants right here that come out and they stretch the gift. They made it bigger. They multiplied it. And that's because in God's kingdom, playing it safe, it's actually the riskiest thing that you can do. Like God doesn't call us to have a spirit of fear. He wants us to trust in him, trust in the thing that he has called us to, and then go out and take that risk. It's very clear as day. And so the big thing here, I just think like this is just a very clear picture of the posture we are supposed to have as Christian entrepreneurs, and you have to be willing to go out and take the risk because that's ultimately what's going to bring the fruit, and that's what God is calling you to do. And so a lot of times people like I will talk to, I hear a lot is like, I don't know what to do, right? And it doesn't matter. Like let's write this here. Like what? People don't know what to do. Okay, that's fine. A lot of times it's you just got to do something. Like 99, I'm not going to give a statistic to it, but most of the time, like your first business or whatever you start in, it's probably not going to be your forever business. It's probably not going to be the business that makes you the most money. It's really just going to be so that you can develop skills. Like that's just the truth. And so the sooner you start, the sooner you'll start learning how to run a business, the sooner you'll start learning how to sell, and the sooner you'll get those skills that you'll need to then move on to your higher purpose that God is actually calling you to. But you have to move before you do it. And I can speak from experience. Like I tried so many things before I got to where I am now. I remember like I'll just talk this. So my very first business that like actually went well, like that I would really consider like me doing a business, was I did Airbnb arbitrage. Okay. So that was the first thing that I ever tried. And it did okay. I was 20, 21, making like 5K a month from this. And so I was like, okay, cool. But the thing is here, like what it taught me, I learned how to copyright a little bit just because I had to do a good job of my listings to get people to book. I had to learn how to sell myself, and just really this was just me learning how to operate a business. I didn't really know what I was in for or what I was supposed to be doing. So this was kind of like my first start there. Then I got into social media marketing. Okay. And this was like my first time dealing with actual clients. And so that again, it taught me how to sell. It taught me how to manage clients, how to keep clients happy, how to balance not only fulfillment, but also growing the business. Okay. And then from there, with this business right here, I was actually, this was what allowed me to quit my part-time job at the time. And so then again, I had to learn how to manage my time. I had to learn, okay, I'm not answering to anyone anymore. Like I need to I need to work. Like it's very difficult at first to work if you're not answering to someone. And so I had to then learn that. And then from there, I pivoted with my social media marketing and I went digital marketing agent. Oops, I don't know why I did a B. I went digital marketing agency. Okay. And so then from there, I'm not a digital marketer. I met a partner who he knew SEO, he knew ads, he knew all types of stuff. And my skills that I built up from Airbnb, from social media marketing, I knew how to sell, I knew how to talk to people. And so we partnered and we were able to grow a good business. And that's because of, again, skills that I learned over time that I just started to leverage and get better at. Okay. And so then the digital marketing agency, that was the business that was able to get me to my first. I know everyone's whole big thing is like get that first 10K. Like that was where I was able to do that. And I'm like, okay, I'm learning even more. I remember there was a point in this business though where partner and I, we weren't seeing eye to eye. We had two different ideas of how we wanted to grow the business. And so we split and I needed to get new clients and I needed them fast. And that led me into learning how to do meta ads. Okay. And so then again, that's another skill that I had to learn and develop. And this is all over the span of 2 years. There's just a lot of pivoting, a lot of changes. Okay. And so I remember the first meta ads campaign that I ever ran, I spent $900. Okay. So $900 on an ad and I made $0 back. Okay. But I don't really consider it that because I learned a ton just from that experience and just going out and doing it. I learned, okay, I have to become a much more effective copywriter. I have to do a much better job at scripting my ads. And so, again, that's another skill right there that I picked up and just I kept capitalizing on. Okay. And so then now that took me to another business that I started with my wife, a training company. I have the skill of meta ads. And so we were able to get that to 10K a month in no time. Like that was literally no problem at all. And it was because of, again, a skill that I developed over all this time. Okay. And so now we fast forward to where we are now. Like I just today, six new ads went out. So for one of my business. So 6 new ads, we're going at $100 a day. And I can confidently do that because of the skills that I learned from all of these different things. And so I'm using all of them. I'm leveraging everything. I still have to sell people. I'm not on sales calls as much as I was in the past, but I still have to sell people. And nowadays, like I spend most of my days, like tons, hours and hours and hours, literally just doing meta ads and copywriting and creating hooks, creating offers, creating new angles. And this was a skill that I did not have this skill 9 months ago, 10 months ago. Like literally, like that's how quick things can change. And like this one singular skill right here that I learned has gotten me to a point to where I feel confident in any business that I enter that we can scale that thing quick because of something that I built up over years in just months and hours and hours and hours of execution, trying new things, and ultimately just taking action because God, he put something on my heart. He told me that I was supposed to be in business. Okay. And so I went. At the time, the only gift that he gave me was my ability. I know how to talk to people. I can kind of sell a little bit. So that was the talent he gave me. I went out with it and I leveraged that talent to start a bunch of different businesses and get to a point to where like yeah, I'm good at talking to people. I'm good at sales, but at this point, like my best skill is my copywriting and me being able to launch new offers and new angles and put together high performing ad campaigns. And literally when I got into the digital marketing space, like that wasn't even I didn't even want anything to do with that. I was like, oh, my partner, he handles that stuff. I just want to focus on sales. And now all I do all day is just focus on marketing, ads, and like I'm getting out of the agency space. Like I'm focusing on bigger things because of a skill. So that's super important right here. A skill that I learned from owning a digital marketing agency has not only it paid me, so I made good money from my digital marketing agency, but now I was basically getting paid to learn, because now I'm at a point to where I use those skills that I learned from my agency to launch new businesses, launch new offers that are going to do much, much, much better than the agency ever did, because I took action. And so that's the whole point here. I really encourage you to go and read Matthew 25 and the parable of the talents, and just kind of apply it to your life, and just whatever God is giving you, like he's giving you enough. Just go and do it. Make something happen.